A very warm welcome to the thorough newspaper analysis of 3rd February 2023. Today we have two important editorials, one from the Hindu and second from the Indian Express. The first one talks about whether a government should put a white paper on Ladakh, and the second one talks about the menstrual leave policy. Moving forward with the first editorial, the question arises that should the government put out a white paper on Ladakh? Before we go on to discuss what this editorial is about, let's know what a white paper is. A white paper is essentially a detailed report that has been commissioned by a government, right? So in this case, the question is, should the Indian government put out a detailed report on the happenings in Ladakh currently? A report prepared for a security conference in Delhi set off a controversy by stating that India has lost access to 26 of 65 patrolling points across the line of actual control since the Galwan Valley clash in April 2023. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar emphasized again that no territory has been ceded to China, while the opposition has called for a government to clarify matters on the line of actual control. Here in this map, we can see that the Aksai Chin region forms the line of actual control. This has been occupied by China but is claimed by India. One of the prime reasons for this gap in communication is that unlike the LOC, which is line of control, the line of actual control has multiple agencies and forces at work without any unity in command. The responsibility for border security is with the ITBP, which is under the Home Ministry. In recent years, the army also patrols. It is under the Ministry of Defense. There are special frontier force units deployed at the LAC, which are under Cabinet Secretariat. The WMCC is driven by the Ministry of External Affairs. One effective way out for any physical attacks from soldiers from the Chinese border could be introducing buffer zones of 5 kilometers so that the soldiers never meet. The Indian government could also go forward and chalk up the line of actual control and publicize it, since the Chinese government and the army has continuously refused to talk about the same. Moving on to the next editorial, it's time to act, period. It talks about the menstrual leave policy that has been adopted by various state governments so far. The menstrual leave policy has been criticized time and again as being a policy that is discriminatory. It has also been labeled as medicalizing a normal biological process. However, menstrual cycles are accompanied with cramps, nausea, back and muscle pains. Further, these take a debilitating form for those who suffer from PCOS and endometriosis. Hence, for many menstruators, it is a biological process intertwined with medical symptoms. Mandatory menstrual leave acknowledges that reality. The menstrual leave policy was first implemented by Bihar in 1992 and was termed as special leave for women due to the stigma attached with the word menstruation. The Kerala government's announcement of granting menstrual leave in the state universities is a welcome move in this regard. This move, if magnified, will also check the dropout rates of female students who leave educational institutions due to insufficient toilets and scarcity of sanitary pads. The menstrual leave potentially has room for bias in hiring due to the cost that the company shall have to bear for the employees. Such discriminatory hiring policies have finally led to the establishment of equitable policies in many countries. Solutions like paid paternal leaves, and remote flexible work has limited the hiring bias to a certain extent. In India, self care leaves could be granted to those who cannot avail menstrual leaves to promise a more equal footing. Further, the sugarcane industry is known for forcing women to have their uterus removed, since no one who menstruates is hired. A formal induction of menstrual leaves in the formal sector would also go on to a great way to help the workers of the unorganized sector. This brings us to the news updates. There is a proposal for a pen monument to Karunanidhi. A pen monument has been proposed to be built in the memory of the late politician M. Karunanidhi. The opposition has raised concerns that the construction would be taking a toll on the environment and cause issues for the fishermen. India hands over 100 nautical charts to Kenya after survey. The charts cover the general coastal area around Lamu Archipelago near Kenya's northern coast, following a joint survey of the area by the navies of the two countries. Launch of Innovation Bridge to connect US and Indian defense startups. ICET was announced in May 2022 by President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Narendra Modi to elevate and expand our strategic technology partnership and defense industrial cooperation between the governments, businesses, and academic institutions of two countries. FM announces saving schemes for women with 7.5% interest rate. A Mahila Samman savings certificate with a fixed interest rate of 7.5% for 2 years was announced. The deposit can be made in the name of any woman or girl child. The maximum deposit amount has been kept at rupees 2 lakh. DCPCR launches WhatsApp chat box to make governance citizen friendly. The chat box called Bal Mitra is an effort to enable two-way communication between people and the child rights panel. Here, a very obvious question that you should be answering in the chat box below is, what is the full form of DCPCR? The next news update is a sports news. It tells us that India records its biggest win in T20 India's after beating New Zealand by 168 runs. India has set up a mammoth target of 235 for New Zealand, powered by Shubham Gill's unbeaten 63 balls to 126 before bundling out the Kiwis just for 66. World Wetlands Day. World Wetlands Day celebrated annually on 2nd February. This is a very important date and is often tested in competitive exams. It aims to raise global awareness about the vital role of wetlands for people and planet. This year, the theme is It's Time for Wetland Restoration, which highlights the urgent need to prioritize wetland restoration. Amrit Dharohar scheme. This is a part of the larger green push with focus on environment and climate change. This is a scheme that will be implemented over the next 3 years to encourage optimal use of wetlands and enhance biodiversity, carbon stock, ecotourism opportunities, and income generation for local communities. The last news update is about South Asia Women Film Festival beginning in Patna. Apart from Indian movies, several films from Nepal, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka will be screened during the festival. Filmmakers from these neighboring countries are also expected to attend the festival. In legal updates, we have, in the case of BB Sheshaya versus the state of Telangana and B. Vamsi Krishna versus state of Telangana, it has been held by the Supreme Court that Section 138 of the Negotiable Instruments Act, conviction cannot be confirmed overriding agreement between parties to compound the offence. The Supreme Court has confirmed that conviction in check dishonor case overriding the agreement between the parties. The bench held that when the parties to a litigation proceeding have entered into an agreement to compound a compoundable offence, the high courts cannot override such compounding and impose their will on the parties. So, friends, this was the thorough newspaper analysis for today. Do answer the question that has been asked while presenting these slides. Thank you. Stay tuned for more and all the best for your competitive exams.